Welcome to AmericanFreePress.net. I'm Mark Anderson with Across the Nation, the continuing news series here on AFP.net. And I am with Anthony Hilder, who is a correspondent for AFP and a longtime filmmaker. And among other things we're going to discuss today is the allegations of detention camps, concentration camps in America. There's a well-known list floating around the internet that Mr. Hilder told me recently is maybe 40-50% true, meaning just because it's posted online doesn't mean every word of it is literally true. But this is something he's been exploring and doing some filmmaking about in recent times. And I think it's today, isn't that, Mr. Hilder?
Today in Russia, on Russia television, we have a story out on concentration camps in America that the American media refuse to put out. The irony of the fact that Russia, formerly the Soviet Union, had more concentration camps than any country in the history of the world, is now putting out the story that the American press, not the American Free Press, but the American press refused to put out. Concentration camps in America by the Russians. It's incredible.
And the name of the film is Concentration Camps in America, correct?
It's in Russian, of course.
And it's showing on state-owned television in Russia as we speak.
As we speak, in Russia.
Roughly the equivalent of our public broadcasting system, but
the people actually watch that because they don't have much option.
Right, the fewer channels to choose from, perhaps, but we have so many diversions here. Do you have any prior screenings, and if so, how was it received?
No prior screenings. I have not seen the completion, but they gave me the release date on the 15th, and Jim Tucker Willing will have this thing out in the American Free Press maybe within a week.
Well, it could be certainly supplemented by this very video to write about the truth about this. And here in Southern California on the 15th of March 2009, the date you just referred to, not far from here, I believe there's one or two locations. Just for the record, what are those locations?
In the Antelope Valley, I mean, there is one camp that has the guard towers all around. In fact, it has a moat outside the fence, and it must be 40 or 50 yards wide, maybe 60 yards wide. It's literally a moat which is being built around the entire facility. They say, well, it can only hold 10,000, but under concentration camp numbers, they could maybe hold 150,000.
And these are unoccupied guard towers?
Unoccupied guard towers. There are some prisoners in the facility. The Russians didn't want to get too close because they thought, well, they're going to be Russian spies.
Russian filmmakers.
The Russian filmmakers thought that our Gestapo and our IRSS guided media. I mean, when I say I'm putting the media and the IRSS and the Fed and Homeland Security all wrapped into one thing because they're all working towards one goal, and that is to have one government, one world, one currency, one religion, and reduce the population of this planet by 90%. They want it all.
So while this camp we're referring to here in Southern California may have an ostensible use for some prisoners who are perhaps state prisoners, perhaps federal, that might only be an interim use until it's used for another function, as you're saying.
You don't build a multi-$100 million facility and have this use area, holding area, with guard towers, and they're not occupied. The prisoners aren't there yet, and you don't want to go to Camp FEMA. I'm going to assure you that.
This is another name for this place, Camp FEMA.
Well, I call it Camp FEMA.
Okay. Now, wasn't there an additional Southern California location besides this one?
Well, there's one in the Northridge, Sylmar area, but it's an outside holding area which could be guarding maybe 500,000, but they would be outside underneath the elements. We've been told that that's the case. They've got a military, or I should say, a police academy over there, and they've got a shooting range, etc. But that is one of the locations they talk about. But I've been to the one over in Glendale, and I don't really, I can't buy that. So I'm really not buying the entirety of the story, but the story is here. There's substance to it. And if you go to Georgia and take a look at the Georgia guidelines, guidestones, you'll see that they are planning on reducing the population of this planet substantially. And the Russians have gone out all across this country to those areas like the Antelope Valley facility, and they put it on film, and it's now out.
Is this often the case that they'll appear to be using it for some other use, even if it's only using a small part of these facilities, such as a police shooting range?
Well, they're not putting it up in Stalag 17. I mean,
Right. But in other words, it seems to be underutilized. They're using it for sundry uses, but it looks like it's built for much more than what they're using it for.
Absolutely.
So that's a consistent.
Yeah, I mean, but take a look at the bars. Are they facing inward or outward?
Interesting point.
And if we simply do what the Russians have done, investigate. The American Free Press is doing that. The Republic Magazine is doing that. We're doing it with our films with Free World Filmworks. But it's up to you to get the information that Mark Anderson writes about and put it out on the radio. And that's important, the radio, because the radio will reach tens of thousands. You write one article and you think, well, one guy's going to read it and that's it. No. You read it, then you get that information. Use that as your schematic, your guideline to get.
And I would add that Anthony's many films are available and often advertised in AFP, one being The Skull and Bones, The Catholic Connection. He has many others, and he's a West Coast correspondent for AFP, bureau representative, and an independent filmmaker. So together with American Free Press, Republic Magazine, and Anthony's Filmworks, including the current one in Russia on concentration camps in America, the truth will come out. And I want to thank you for watching AmericanFreePress.net. I'm Mark Anderson with Across the Nation. We'll see you next time.